Hi, my name's Megan, and I will be starting as a teacher librarian in a high school this coming fall, and have been so grateful for this course and all that we've learned in terms of setting up a proper unit to teach grades 9 through 12 research and writing skills in a high school library setting. Thinking about the learner characteristics of my students, really thinking about how important it is for us to have young people who understand accurate internet sources and resources and how to leverage that information into high quality writing examples for persuasive use in terms of synthesizing information, also just as far as documenting and citing. So what my main topic is really research and writing strategies for grades 9 to 12. And the goal is to help students pursue research topics of interest, but also related to academic study, using their Chromebooks and library resources, and then helping them to engage in academic writing using outline format and rough drafts, and also the APA citation style. So real briefly, the main idea here is to encourage student curiosity and agency in terms of using their own Chromebooks, and thinking about how to use Clever as a platform to jump into the Encyclopedia Britannica app, for example, and then really guiding them using KWLs and collaborative structures in small groups in the library to take time to get to know some of these different resources and to analyze which internet resources really are, as I said, accurate and relevant for their learning. Using think, pair, shares, numbered heads together, again, many collaborative structures for students so that they can work together, develop those critical thinking skills about research sources together. And then moving into writing skills, thinking about how to guide step by step and scaffold their ability to use the information they've now learned and put it into concrete writing. All of the work that I'm hoping to do will be in conjunction with a classroom teacher of record. And so rubrics that relate to both writing conventions and content for the students will be important to do in conjunction, or develop and use in conjunction with the classroom teacher of record, most likely from the English department, and with in some cases, possibly the history department. And then thinking about in my library space, having seating that's flexible for students to, again, engage with their own Chromebooks and also with each other. And also, let's see, thinking about the learning outcomes, really to be very clear about where we want students to end up is we want them to be able to use the skills that they're developing in terms of understanding what research sites and processes are the right and accurate ones, and then take that information and apply it to their real life and to other courses that they'll be taking. And then also, of course, their writing skills, being so clear about what it means to generate an outline, that a rough draft is important, that they'll get feedback on that, and using the proper citation. Hoping to motivate them in any number of ways, hoping for that intrinsic motivation ultimately, so that they see how important these writing and research skills are, not just for this lesson and unit, but for their life in general. And then what I hope to do is provide a very engaging structure within the library setting to leverage the unique library space where kids can feel safe and feel like it's a slightly different space than their own classroom environment, where they can maybe ask a different questions than they might with their very clear subject matter teacher of me, the librarian, who again has a bit larger kind of area of knowledge, and again, even also a larger physical space for them to be in. Sometimes that helps students feel a bit more safe and able to navigate the learning a little differently. And then we want to evaluate through progress monitoring and summatives. That would be grades in the summative sense, and a rubric, as well as with the progress monitoring throughout the writing of the rough draft and throughout their participation in the research unit, gathering data as to how they're doing step by step, again, through that scaffolded process. And then finally, I'll be teaching mostly in person in the class, in the library environment, in coordination with the teacher of record, and using some handouts, largely through Google Docs, but some in hard copy as well, that guide the learning activities for students. And then possibly eventually developing a YouTube channel that does have some offerings of videos and teaching elements that I'll be able to continue to build. Again, as I'm jumping in new into this role, I know that's more of a long-term idea, but I hope that does become a part of this unit at some point. And then finally, summative and formative assessment and evaluation. As I mentioned, final grade, grading of each of the components of the rubric as they are seen through the rough draft process, and then also how are students participating in some of the dynamic activities that relate to the research skills they're developing in groups and on their own. And then evaluations, I'm anticipating asking questions of students such as, how do you feel that the classroom teacher and the teacher librarian coordinated for this unit overall? How likely are you to use the different sources and sites that you've now discovered through Clever and beyond, not just in future courses, but in your life in general? And then what ranking would you give the rubric? How did the rubric guide your writing skills? And finally, the anchor charts that we'll be developing for the library regarding APA citation, research skills, and the overall writing conventions and content rubric components. How likely are you to come back into the library and use those anchor charts? And then I'll be using, spending time with the classroom teacher to look over the evaluation, and that informs a rewrite / reteach of this unit. So I'm excited about it. Thank you so much for listening, and look forward to any feedback that you may have. Thank you again.